Hello, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining from. Welcome back to another week of this show, whatever we're going to call it. You know, still don't have a name for it, but good to see everybody here. Thanks for joining. Welcome back for the regulars and welcome to all the new people. Always nice to see some new faces here. Richard says the map put Ireland on the west coast of USA. It's not perfect. It's actually a hard problem. I have not figured out a solution to those kinds of problems. I'm actually surprised about Ireland, though, because you just said hello from Ireland, and that should have been pretty clear. Normally, it gets like other things wrong. But thanks for joining. Oh, Cape Town, South Africa. Wonderful. And Bailey is here from Australia. I forget now, the time zone difference keeps bouncing around, but I think we're all settled now. So yeah, no, it's a terrible time. What are you doing awake? It's 3 a.m. Yeah, sorry for the terrible time for the Australians. But reminder, if you do have any questions, drop them in the chat with the letter Q. And that makes it a little bit easier for me to spot on the screen here once the chat gets going. And otherwise, we will just talk about what's new in the world of streaming and answer questions. And maybe a little bit of talk about NAB, which is now next week. Well, I leave next week. I leave in less than a week. But it's not next week. It's, I guess, the week after next. But I'm leaving on Saturday because the show starts... No, the show starts a week from today. A week from today will be the show floor open. And that means I'm not going to be doing a live stream from here, obviously, and haven't figured out if I'm going to do a live stream at the time the show floor opens again like last year, which was fun, but it is a little bit chaotic. So it worked out pretty well, though, last year, I thought. Okay, but let's see if we can get to any questions that are easy first, and then the hard ones usually come in a little bit later. Oh, and don't let me forget to do the giveaway during this stream, because I did not do it last week because I was too jet lagged coming off of the plane and then recording the April Fool's video. But the giveaway, which we'll do in a little bit later in the show, is there's two prizes. So the extreme prize is 50% off any of my digital products or $20 off any physical products you can find in my store, including the PK1 products. And this is available to anybody who has sent in a super chat during the last 30 days on this channel. So that will spin for that a little bit later, and you do have a chance to still enter that. And then the mini prize is 25% off any digital products, and that is available to anybody who says anything in the chat today. So if you are talking in the chat today, you are automatically entered, and we will draw someone at random for the prizes. Doing this every month. I usually do it at the first live stream of the month, except this month because that was just a bit much. So this is the first normal stream of the month. Eric says last Sunday was also a long stream, I think 2 hours, so no giveaway was fine. I will just say this up front. We're probably not going to cut it short at 90 minutes today. We're probably not going to stick to our normal 90-minute time because Lily's starting her new work schedule, and that means she works extremely early on the weekends, like leaves the house at like 3:30 or something, and she is racing back from her job to do her live stream this afternoon, but it's at noon, not 11:30. So half hour later than normal, which means I'm not going to have to send you all over there right after this is done. So we'll see. I'll probably end up going till noon. We'll see. Bailey says, I'm awake at this time most days anyway. I work best between 2:30 a.m. and 10 a.m. It's very annoying. That is quite the shift. All right. Oh, always like to hear this from Ulet's Technologies. Got the PK1 for my Yolobox Pro and loving it. Awesome. So glad. So glad. to hear it. Okay, let's take some questions. Again, put a little Q in front of your message if you do want to make sure that I get to it. From Dansplaining Video, HDMI splitter works on HDMI out 2, but not on out 1. And did try multiple splitters. That would have been my first suggestion. Any ideas or suggestions? The thing that comes to mind is that HDMI out 2 and HDMI out 2 is, or HDMI out 1 is the special one. It's special because if you, I have to go over to my ATEM Mini for this, and not the SDI one. So here is my ATEM Mini Pro ISO. Output, there's only one HDMI out on the Mini, but the same concept applies on the Extreme. HDMI out 1 can be set to either one of these or camera 1 direct, which is like a pass-through mode. On the Extreme, there's the two HDMIs. And let's see, let me actually go to the Extreme. This is the one at home. Both, so HDMI out 2 can be set to input 2 direct. I've labeled these ones so they're not called camera 1. HDMI out 1 can be set to only input 1 direct. So my thought is maybe your outputs are set to different things. So if you've set 1 to the direct mode, then it's not the ATEM signal that's getting split. It's like the source signal. And if that splitter isn't working with that source signal, that could be messing it up. So try that. Otherwise, no idea. HDMI splitters are weird. And it could just be an unexplainable glitch. Newsfan77 says, what options do I have for video playback with key fill source besides a hyperdeck with the ATEM Mini Extreme? Good question. Video playback with key fill. Okay, so hyperdeck, there's a whole range of hyperdecks. So that is a nice option that, especially with the new shuttle form factor, which is a really nice form factor, but they're not necessarily cheap. So the cheapest one here, actually that doesn't have the key fill. Mini, no, it does. Mini has, let me just double check that. I always forget. No, it does not. Okay. Hyperdeck Mini has only SDI, one SDI out, plus gets you the key fill out. So it's not cheap. And then the Hyperdeck Shuttle obviously only has HDMI out. So no go there. But the other thing you can do for video playback is use a computer and output through, where did it go? Capture and playback. So these things, this one only has the one SDI, but this one has two SDI outs, and then any of these cards with multiple SDI outs, or at that point even, I think the HDMI outs can do it also. Not 100% on that one. I know the SDIs can. So that would let you play back videos from a computer, and then you can use any software on the computer that supports these devices. Other than Blackmagic, I don't think I've used anything else other than Blackmagic products for that. So I don't know other than that, but hopefully that gives you a starting point. The IT never gets old. Any thoughts about the new Blackmagic video hubs? Yes. Very excited. I am not surprised that they updated these, but why can't I find anything on this website today? There they are. Routing and distribution. New video hubs. Interesting, they changed the number of of ports on the smallest one, because it used to be 12, 20, and 40. Not really sure why. But I think I'm glad to see this update. It doesn't look like it's like super revolutionary or anything. It doesn't like do anything totally different than before. But it does support the 12G, which I don't think the original ones did. Yeah, 6G. So that's good. And the buttons are nicer on the new one. Nice big glossy buttons. What else? I don't know what this little wheel is for. It's like, I don't think I ever actually used it on mine because I always just everything remote. But the wheel is nicer too. I don't know what else is new in here. The oh, I have a feeling. My strong suspicion. Oh, go away, go away. My strong suspicion is that this uses the new fan design that they're using in all of the new products, which means it's going to be a lot quieter. And it's also uses less power. So the small one is 20 watts. If you look at the older small one, it's more than that. Where is it? Oh, it doesn't even say because it's just a AC. Oh, wait, does that mean this doesn't take AC power? Oh, it does. Okay. Anyway, it uses less power, which means less to cool. And I'm pretty sure, like, it would make sense that they would be using the new fans in this along with they'd be using the ATEMs. And I will say the fans in the old Video Hub, which is the one I have, the original fans are extremely loud, uncomfortably loud. And I went to a third party that makes a separate fan replacement you can do. And those are a lot quieter, but they're still not as quiet as the ATEM Constellation 2 rack unit size one, which is extremely quiet. So that is a good sign. I'm glad that they're finally putting quieter fans in all their gear. It's hard to find anything on the Blackmagic website, no matter what time of day it is. Yes. The way the buttons work on the Video Hub seem very different than before. Interesting. I just realized they have little labels on their picture here. How does that work? Do they... Oh, my super source is doing that thing again. I hope they fix that soon. I have no idea what these labels do. Yeah, okay, these buttons are completely different because before it was on the other one, it's like just the numbered sources, and then you would you have to do like the routing select, so in and out, and then choose that. But I don't know what all these buttons do. That's interesting. Yeah. Are those source names? Because why would they be like hard coded? I have questions. Well, I'll find out next week at NAB because I'm sure they're going to have these on the floor. Yeah. The live stream network is the panoramic. Is Panasonic HC 1500, HCX 1500, Panasonic. I don't think I've ever seen that one. Panasonic 1500. Is it a good camera? Probably. Yeah, I haven't seen this one. I don't really know much about the camcorder market these days. Last time I bought a camcorder was like 2015, I think. But I did use them quite a lot for conferences that I was filming because I like that they're relatively affordable and it's an all-in-one thing. Yeah, here's my the one I bought, 2015. They're still selling it, but I would buy them used for like $600. So this is wild. This must be just because it's old or something. This one was a totally fine camera. Obviously, I'm pretty sure that Panasonic one is better, and these were HD only. But no, they're nice because they're all in one. They're meant to be turned on all the time. They come with like a DC power bank, so they're really good for like you need to film a room full of people for 8 hours on end. And the zoom lenses on them are pretty incredible. Okay, cool. We're getting some answers on the video hubs. The buttons on the front can be set with your source and destinations. You print your own labels. Aha! That's cool. Print your own labels. It makes sense. You can choose between different inputs. So the first 10 are for monitors, and then it's easy to find the source. That makes sense. That's cool. Well, that would be fun. Oh, Doug made a video about it. Excellent. Where is NAB being held this year? It's always in Vegas, as far as I know. I think they've been there forever. It's the whole Las Vegas Convention Center. Huge. It's super huge. I didn't even make it to all the expo halls last year because there was one that was like, I finally went there on like the last day because I was like, I just need to see what's in here. But it was the one that that didn't make any sense to me because it was the world of physical broadcast gear. So they had like 6-foot tall antennas on the floor that you use for like an actual TV station. And then all the terminology there was just like, oh my God, this is like a whole different world. Whole different world. Printing labels is so 2015. Why not have the ability to change them like the Stream Deck? I mean, that would be cool. I have a feeling it would add quite a bit to the cost. Clear Life Media has a good question. Do you think Blackmagic will introduce a professional replay at NAB? It's the only thing they haven't done yet for live streaming. That is an interesting idea. It seems within the realm of possibility, frankly, especially with the HyperDeck shuttle, because I feel like that form factor would work really well for it. If we go back to the HyperDeck page, the shuttle, I really do like that form factor, and the wheel is really nice to spin, and I feel like that would make a very good replay box. So, because they've really tried really hard to make it so that navigating clips on that device is easy. So maybe it'd be really cool to see that box, that form factor, turn into a replay device. Seems not entirely out of the question. Oh, Philip says last time NAB wasn't in Vegas was 1990 when it was in Atlanta, and you went there. Awesome. Wow. Yeah. Well. Okay, good questions coming in, and at this point, I think I'm not going to see stuff if it gets in the chat without the Q in front. So make sure you do put the Q in front of your question. Chris says, if I only have Wi-Fi available for streaming, is there a difference between using OBS or a live view unit? Yeah, definitely. Live view streaming. So the live view stuff, there's a bunch of different versions of this, but a lot of these will have like some of them do the bonding. What is it? Where is that? Oh, this is like the one product page. liveview.tv. Where's like their homepage for it. So yeah, they have a bunch of different ones. So depending on what device you're talking about, some of them do bonding though, which is gonna be the biggest difference that you'll get, where you can put in 2 SIM cards or give it 2 different internet connections. Wow, there's so many different ones. And then it'll be a lot more reliable than what you can do on a computer. Of course, you could get a bonded modem for your computer, at which point it's similar, but I would say that oh, you're talking about only Wi-Fi available. So, okay, so bonding is not an option. I would still, I mean, this is just me personally. I would always stick with hardware encoders if possible for critical stuff. So using OBS means you're using your computer to do the encoding and streaming, which means you're at the mercy of the computer for everything. And of course, the benefit of OBS in particular is that you can add graphics and all sorts of stuff into it. But if you're only doing it for the encoding part, I would go with a hardware encoder instead. And the live view stuff is great. I don't have any, but you know, everybody who I know who has one is a fan. LRT bonding bonds together some modems, Wi-Fi, Ethernet, etc. Yeah. So, but if you only have one Ethernet connection, then I would still go with LiveView and not use OBS. Spot says, what unmanaged 10 gig Ethernet switch do you recommend, 8 to 12 ports? I haven't done any 10 gig stuff yet. I'm still just on 1 gig. I've never set up a 10 gig network before. So I don't know. I don't have any particular thing to recommend. And I have actually switched. I've moved all of my networking gear into the Unify world. So I'm just getting that stuff at this point. I like it. It works well. It's easy to manage. I don't need to know quite as much about all the details of all network protocols to make the networks work the way I want. So if I end up getting 10 gig stuff, I'll probably just do it in the Unify ecosystem also. They do have 10 gig stuff. I just haven't taken the plunge yet. Where is this? Switching. Yeah, they have a bunch of 10 gig stuff. This is the one I have. I have this little 16 port one at this desk here, and I've got one of these in the rack back there. Joshua says the ATEM Mini is not showing up as a webcam in OBS. I've tried many USB cables, but no luck. That's really weird. It should just work. It shouldn't. There's nothing really special about it. It still is likely a cable problem, because I will say USB-C, despite how nice it is that it has let us do a lot of things that were not possible before, but it's still a giant mess. And you can find USB-C cables that are charging only and don't pass data. So and there's it's almost impossible to identify it from the looking at it itself. So it's keep trying more cables, or at least try to use that cable for plugging in like a hard drive or something, so that you know that the cable is a data cable, and then then use that cable. Try it with the ATEM. It should just work. There's nothing fancy. If it's not working, then maybe talk to Blackmagic and see if it's a actual problem. Designer Mag says, I can't get my Mix Effect app to connect to the ATEM Mini. Not a lot of things not a lot of information there. Oh, Adam is replying in the chat. Yeah, I guess this is all I can say. Same thing. Make sure the two devices are on the same network. So you'll need to make sure your ATEM Mini is plugged into the network, not over USB to a computer, for example. It needs to be on the network, and that network needs to be the same network that your iPad is connected to over Wi-Fi. So, and then there's the iOS setting for limiting access to the local network, which you need to double check as well. Geert says, is there still no way to record with the ATEM ISO and put markers via companion and the Stream Deck button to separate different takes? I don't think so. I feel like they launched this Resolve project feature in the ISO, and then nothing has changed with it. And I feel like it's a little disappointing. Don't really know what their plan is for that. It would have been very nice to be able to have a marker, be able to insert a marker into that project that it creates. But no, I know that people have cobbled together solutions for using Companion and a button on the Stream Deck for making markers with timestamps. You could imagine putting the current time of day into a text file somewhere. And if you're recording in the ATEM Mini, you can set the time code to time of day. So if you look at where is it? Output timecode generator. So it's set to time of day, which means the timecode that gets written into the file. Oh, this is funny. It's not on daylight savings time. I wonder how I need to fix that. It's an hour off. Anyway, I think it syncs when you plug it into a computer, which I haven't done in a while. But the point is the time code that it writes, if it's time of day, then you have a separate list of time codes that you're writing that also are timestamps of the time of day. At least you have that as a reference. It's obviously not in the project file, but you can match it up later that way. Let me see if there's any replies to this stuff that we just were talking about. Oh, the Scott says the unified 10 gig switches are a bit loud as far as their cooling fans go. Good to know. I won't plan on putting any in my rack then. Oh, and bonding is quite pricey. It costs $45 a month. That is kind of pricey. And that's just for the encoding, right? So overlays you have to do in your studio. Lola Livestream Network says the Panasonic HCX 1500 has got live streaming to YouTube and Facebook. That's interesting. That's cool. I wonder if it actually is just arbitrary RTMP streaming, because then you could do cool stuff like stream it to your own studio somewhere. The LiveView data plan, including bonding, is over $300 a month. Wow. Well, I mean, it works well, so you get what you pay for, I guess. Emerald Audiovisual says, good news, they've now launched their Solo Connect modems for worldwide use, and the data plan is actually not terrible. Good to know. I haven't played in the LiveView world at all. Just a little daft says, see my question earlier on. I don't know where that was. I don't know if I can find it. Sorry. Oh, there it is. It was didn't get caught because there was a parentheses around the Q. I purchased a 4G LTE SIM card for the Yolobox Pro, even though it recognizes it after having reset. I can't get the SIM card to work. Any suggestions? This, I wonder if it's a region issue thing, because I think, like cell phones, I'm pretty sure that the different places you buy the Yolobox from will have the different cell modems in them for the different bands for the different regions, and it could be that. I am not 100% sure that is actually what's going on, but I had the same problem happen somewhere where the SIM card worked fine in my phone because the iPhone has all the bands now, but it wasn't working in the Yolobox. But at home, a SIM card was. Yeah, the workaround here is to use like a separate cell modem and then connect it over Ethernet. But yeah. Jonathan says, do you think the 4K ATEMs are imminent with the launch of the 12G video hubs? Interesting. I don't know if I would say those are necessarily correlated, but it does seem like they are due for an update to the 4K ATEMs. Probably not gonna, I don't think we're gonna see a 4K ATEM Mini, but if we go down to, so these are the new HD ones, but they do have that, oh my gosh, where are they? Way down here. These ones, which are the last in the light gray, old fan, loud, obnoxious style. So I would not be surprised if these get an update soon. Just because I think there's like, these don't have the scalers in the inputs either. So all those new features they've been doing and all the new hardware, I think these would probably benefit from. But at this point, it's a week away from NAB. So unless they're like, they don't usually do announcements at NAB, but they do them leading up to it and then show everything at NAB. So maybe we'll get a surprise announcement this week, but I wouldn't hold my breath for that one. Oh, the Panasonic AGCX350, that's quite a mouthful, have RTMP, SRT, and UDP streaming, and they work great. That's very cool that it has SRT streaming. That is interesting. I've been doing, it's been a while since I've done it this way, but I used to quite often push a remote stream into my studio and then mix the show in the studio from a remote feed like the Yolobox. But I've really been wanting to try that over SRT, which should get better results, but haven't had a chance to do it yet. Oh, Emerald says there was a bug in the Yolobox Mini and Pro at some point. Try contacting support. Good suggestion. Vance says, is there an advantage or disadvantage in using fiber optic HDMI cables over regular HDMI cables? Let's see, quick pros and cons. Obviously, big advantage of fiber is that you can go much, much farther than regular HDMI cables. That's the whole point of them. Disadvantage, they're more fragile. So like, don't bend them too much because they can break because there is glass inside, fibers. So more fragile, don't step on them, don't bend them too much. But other than that, oh, some of them are directional. So there is a particular end that has to be plugged into the camera and the other end is the receiver. So and they won't work in reverse. So if you are gonna run a long cable, you have to know which direction you're gonna be using it. And you can't just like change what it's for. I don't know if all of them do that or just some of them, but definitely a lot of them do. So make sure you pay attention to that. Whereas like a regular HDMI cable, it works either direction, so you don't have to worry about it. Otherwise, like, no, I think they're a great option. So if you're going to do anything over like 15 feet, I would just go with fiber at this point. 15 feet seems to be the longest that I've had luck with, like consistently. So some cameras can support cables that are longer. Some cables are better than others. Some receivers that you're plugging things into, like an ATEM, work with certain lengths of cables, and it kind of all starts getting really messy once you go past about 15 feet. Under that, it's pretty much like anything's going to work fine. But if you're going to be doing anything longer than that, then I would just go with a fiber cable so that you don't have any trouble. Jonathan says, as far as you know, are the issues with the web presenter fixed, and would you look at an alternative for streaming to be safe? So I am using the web presenter right now. That is up on the monitor of it is up here, and I have still had some issues. The really ugly issue was the encoding glitch, which was causing like a 1 pixel stripe glitch that happened to coincide with the text in my chat. So it was like really, really obvious. That got fixed in a firmware update. I was several versions out of date, it turns out. That got fixed. But I still have had the problem where it will just lock up at some point after being on for too long. So I've actually got mine set up on a schedule there's like a power strip in there that's network controlled, and you can put schedules on it. Let's see, do I have that? It's like this horrible, horrible interface, web interface, but it works. So I have my web presenter on outlet 2 and where is it? Outlet setup. Yeah, so every day at 2 a.m. it'll reboot. So turns off for 5 seconds, turns back on. And that's made it great because as long as I'm not streaming at 2 a.m., which I haven't done, every day it's like it's fresh boot, and then I haven't had any problems since then. So I used to get here sometimes and it would just be like stuck. It would be showing me the little animations on the screen weren't moving, but it would still be showing the video, but like it wasn't reporting the bit rate properly and all that. And then it wouldn't respond to the network. So rebooting it every day has fixed that problem. But the big disadvantage that is not solved is that it does use the same kind of encoder that the ATEM Minis use, and they all have the same problem, which is that they don't handle bad networks very well. So I have a great network connection here, so I don't have any problems with it. But as soon as you go somewhere that has a bad network connection, then it can fall apart really quick. And this was a big problem at ResolveCon last year. And for that, I would definitely recommend using a different kind of encoder if you're going to be somewhere where you know the network connection is not going to be good. Jonathan says, you have that PD set for the 4ME2. We've had issues with it getting lonely and crashing if it isn't used for a few days. Yeah, I do have the 4ME on here too, because I have that. I do have, not nearly as often, but I do have that problem with the 4ME also, where sometimes it will, I have had it completely lock up only a couple of times, but the other problem, which is happening right now, which I don't know if you can see it, the super source is like glitchy. It doesn't always do it, but sometimes when I'm scrolling, you'll see like glitches. And then if I reboot it, it'll clear up. But now I don't really want to reboot it because we're live, and that would take down the show for a little couple seconds. Cool, yeah. Can you show how to bring in Zoom guests in an ATEM Mini? That is a whole video for sure, because there's a couple different options for it, depending on how fancy you want to go. I don't really have a good video on that right now, I don't think. Yeah, I haven't done a video about it. The Zoom ISO is what you want to look for. This is like the fancy version. What this does is it will give you, if you use it with like either NDI, or if you're going to use it with an ATEM, you probably use one of these desktop cards. And this will give you separate video feeds out an SDI or HDMI port for each of the remote guests in Zoom. And this is like the best proper way to do it. They also Zoom bought this company, so it's like super integrated now, and fully supported. Great option. This is like the best way to do it. The low tech way to do it is just like screen capture from a computer that's in the call, which honestly can get you pretty far, because you can like pin guests and stuff. But Zoom ISO is the fancy way to do it. Been a while since I've played with it though. Like I haven't seen this feature. So Michael says, love the new-ish isolated audio feeds in Zoom ISO too. Very important also. I have not played with it since they added that feature. What are you doing? Says, where do you find quality USB-C cables? I have several cables that worked with a dock I got for multiple screens and devices, kept getting longer ones. Got a Samsung M7, and only the 4 to 5 foot cable that came with it works. Same laptop. So this is another thing about USB-C is that once you start getting into the higher data rates, the lengths that are possible go way down. And I'm actually surprised that a 5 foot cable works at all with that, because the most I've seen is like a meter. So, and then the shorter the better, frankly. So I don't know. It's really hard to find good USB-C cables for sure. For sure. But shorter the better. Shorter will be more reliable. Louis says, does the Constellation 8K come with the more recent features, scalars? Yeah, it does. So if you look at on the webpage, when it says standards converted inputs, that means it's got the scalars in it, because these ones down here don't. But this is like kind of similar to the, it's like the 4K version of the 4ME that I have. It just supports 4K, and then you can chain 4Ks to make it an 8K. But it does have a bunch of the new stuff. So where is it? It's got MADI in audio also, for example. all the different resolutions, input resolution supported, frame rate converters on all the inputs. Yeah. So all sorts of good stuff in the 8K. But that's a lot. It's a lot. Nobody needs 8K. How is the test beta ATEM Mini coming along? Do you mean the vertical one? Philip says, have you started your plans for your next live stream bicycle setup? Good question. No, I haven't really gotten into that planning that yet because it still feels like the depths of winter here. Not really in the biking outside for fun mood yet. Maybe once the weather starts improving, I will be a little bit more excited about that. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Definitely going to do another live stream during one of the bike rides in Portland. One of the big ones. Those are always fun. And maybe I'll do some test streams to unlisted videos to try some other things out. Maybe I should get one of the live view things and give that a proper shot. The 4ME will be great on the bike. Yeah, I could do it. That rack is extremely heavy, but if I took out the 4ME, I could make a bike rig out of it. I do still have a cargo bike, although I haven't been using it as much because I got this trailer for the tiny bike, which is way more useful to me. The weather yesterday was super nice here. Today, full on rain, stormy, and cold. April is unreliable. Yep. March and April have been like that here. We had like the random snow last month. This month it's just been pretty rainy. Not super pleasant. Will the House Files channel have a dedicated episode on how you are going to plan out your wiring and the closet, the streaming booth or something? Absolutely, yes. Haven't been able to do much of that yet. And for those of you who don't know, House Files is a channel which you should go subscribe, by the way, because I want to get this up to 1K at least. The House Files is a channel that we are using to document building out this new house, which is back there next to this building that I'm in right now. And it is a 3-unit structure, and we're going to be living in the top one, and going to turn one of the rooms into Lily's studio, Lily's office with her cameras in there. I'm going to do network fiber connections between the two buildings so that we have a good signal to get video signals back and forth and network. So right now, this is the latest episode, which is we did a walkthrough of the framing, and it's still a shell of a house. So I haven't been able to do much beyond that yet. This week, they are working on the windows, though. And it is getting to, let's see, I have a little, here, I'll give you a little sneak peek. A little sneak peek of the state of the house. Is it that button? Yes. This is a little walkthrough of this. That's from Lily's room, walking up the stairs to the main floor. And this is the state it's in. I filmed this yesterday. It is still a shell, so I haven't been able to do much of the more fun stuff yet. But you can see the windows are starting to go in, and they're starting to do the waterproofing on the outside now. So very soon, it will be dry inside, like sealed up. And then we can do all the fun stuff like starting to plan out electrical and network outlets and stuff like that. So soon there will be a lot more content about the networking side on the channel. So definitely go give it a subscribe. So your new house will have Windows, also Mac and Linux. Yeah, the Mac system goes in later. Are you planning to have a security system installed? If so, will it be the Unify one? currently don't have plans for like a quote security system, but I do have lots of cameras planned for everywhere around the house. So the one of the things you can do in the Unify what is it called, the designer is plan out your network and camera setup, which is a really cool little tool. So I've been using this to plan out the network system. So here's where I am in the studio here. There's my access point in the middle of the room, and it will show you the Wi-Fi coverage. And then I have a little camera inside here as well, and it shows you the camera coverage. And then we've got the network rack in that back closet, which will have a fiber connection to the main rack here, which will be a 48 port PoE switch in this little closet, which then runs, and you can see, you can draw these little connections, and it'll show you where it's all connected to, like what cameras are connected to it, what other access points. Actually, I feel like they did an update to this, because this is actually behaving better than it was when I was making this. Like, it's highlighting the things in green that it's connected to, which is really nice. So then it'll be like a switch for that unit on their floor, feeding all the ports. I've got camera, and then what you can do is you can show, here's the Wi-Fi coverage, right? So here's the Wi-Fi coverage for the first floor, Wi-Fi coverage for the second floor, Wi-Fi coverage for the third floor, and you can see what happens if you move these around. It'll like change the coverage. It's a really cool tool. So that's helped plan out where all the different access points go. So this is our unit, and gonna have to rethink this room a little bit, because we have been doing more planning. So I don't know if it makes sense. Actually, this closet's gone now, so I can take out that wall. That closet doesn't exist anymore. And it means I don't necessarily need a network switch on the inside of the closet anymore, but I still probably want one on each wall anyway. Anyway, it's fun. It's great. And then you connect it all up, and that way you can tell it, where is it? There's like a gear list. Oh, you can put things in a rack. I haven't figured out how to use the rack feature properly. Some things are a little bit weird in this. Oh yeah, so it's when you export a PDF, it'll export a full equipment list of everything you have, how it's all connected, and all that stuff. And then if you look at the camera coverage, I have that on the ground floor. So then you can see all the different cameras, and depending on where you put them, how much it'll be able to see. So, you know, I want to be able to see all the way around, so I've put in cameras everywhere until it fills everything in blue. Very cool little tool. One of the other reasons I like Unify. It's like H2R gear, but for a network in your house. Yeah, totally. How many access points is that? A lot. Because I have some of the like in-wall ones that are also like Ethernet jacks. So yeah. I would not go to Unify for security cameras. They're fairly proprietary, sort of. So they do output RTSP, but the trick is that you can't use non-Unify cameras with your system, but you can use Unify cameras with other systems. So, oh yeah, Michael said that here. They can be added to other NVRs, but not vice versa. So I decided that I was willing to like pay that price for how flexible it is. So if you, how do I find this? I want to show you the camera in this office, in this room. Here it is. So here's the list of cameras, and here's the one in the studio, and it has an IP address, which I can actually go visit. So in this interface, like there's like a way to get oh, that's new. Share live stream with a link. But no, there's a way to get the RTSP, but that's actually the RTSP URL for its like server. not for the camera itself. But if I go to the camera directly to its web page, you can get an RTSP feed from the camera itself. Although actually where is this? So here's the room. This is where you can change enable anonymous snapshot is what I use for doing time lapses. So anonymous snapshot gives me a JPEG URL that I can grab this frame from. I don't remember the URL. Let's see. I think it might just be like snap.jpg. Yeah. So I just go to that IP address and I type /snap.jpg, and then it gives me this still frame. And I've been using this to make time lapses of all the constructions. I have a script that goes and grabs this frame for all the cameras. And it talks directly to the cameras themselves, not to the controller. So this is what I mean. It's like, it's not quite entirely proprietary, but it is kind of locked in. But I could later decide that I wanted to move away from the UniFi controller, and I would keep all the cameras there, unmanage them from the hub, and then they turn into just generic RTSP cameras. They are more expensive than generic RTSP cameras, but again, I'm paying for the UniFi ecosystem, and I think it's okay. Thumbs down ring. No, definitely not going to any cloud first cameras. No. So yeah, not at all. Massive security issues, many problems, and none of the other companies are necessarily any better either. So at least with this, like the cloud part of the UniFi camera system is that they have an iOS app in the store that talks to the UniFi servers that can like find its way back into my network. But there's a server in the closet that everything's getting recorded to, and it's not recorded in their cloud at all. Scott says the in-wall UniFi access points have somewhat limited range, primarily because of how they are located. Yeah, it makes sense. UniFi recommends no more than 4 Wi-Fi networks per controller. I think I'm planning on, I was planning on 5. I may have to rethink that, because I want to have a separate one for each unit, and then also like a guest one for our unit. We will have to see. I still actually haven't decided if I am going to run one UniFi controller for like this studio that also covers the main house, or if I'm going to separate those completely. Yeah. And you need to pay attention to the number of access points with respect to the available frequency bands. Yeah, of course. So that is all for later. Right now, I'm just trying to get the important part for now is picking the ports, the locations of all the jacks in the walls, because that is all going to happen once everything gets closed up and dry. Well, that was a fun little tangent. I have, and then this is like a video on the channel later, but I have been trying to figure out what to do about a video doorbell system, because I do want video doorbell, but I also want to have door release, because we're up 3 flights of stairs and I don't want to have to run downstairs to let somebody in. It would be really nice to be able to push a button to unlock the door. So that is a thing I'm scheming. The cobbling that together, I did find like a company that sells this stuff that is like essentially what you see on the apartment buildings, for apartment building access, which does check all the boxes. It's a locally run system. There's no cloud involved. It's fantastic. And the problem is that it was like $15,000. So I was like, I think that's a little bit out of budget. What I am trying, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to use, is actually the UniFi has a door system as well, and they actually just have it here because I was testing it. It's this is the controller for it that you hide in the wall, and then this is what goes on the outside of the house, and then it has just a little 12-volt relay, and if you put the right key, oh, that's the wrong one. Put the right key, then it'll open. And I don't know if you heard it, but there's a little click, and it clicked the relay, and that will release the door. And it works with generic NFC tags. So I'm going to put, I'm going to like make little keychain tag things to hide these in with different designs on them for all the different doors and make them cute, which look better than just like they also give you these cards, but it's not as fun. So yeah, it'll be cool. Hikvision makes a nice one, but it's hard to integrate with other stuff. You know what? That may have been the one that I was looking at. Let me see. No, it's not. It came up in my searches though. I remember seeing that. The oh no, wait. They make cameras. Doorbell camera. That's what we were talking about. No, I did see this when I was searching around, and I ruled this out for some reason. So B&H sells these. Why? Now I can't remember why I ruled these out. Because this isn't terribly expensive. Huh. Yeah, can't remember. Just learn from Linus and don't bother with smart light switches. No, I'm absolutely doing smart light switches because every light has to be able to be remote controlled. That's the rule. Not going back. I've got Hue bulbs everywhere right now, which probably not going to use in the new house, but the Lutron is probably what we're going to end up going with. Again, local system, and you can integrate it with like Home Assistant and stuff. But anyway, this is the other channel, so I might have to do live streams on the other channel where we just focus on home automation stuff because it's gonna get exciting once I can actually like start installing stuff. I'm thinking of a bumper sticker that says my other doorbell is a Panasonic BGH1. Yeah. BGH1 for the doorbell. I mean, it would be cheaper than this 15K quote. So yeah. Michael says, after 3 years of nagging, CenturyLink finally buried fiber to me. I hope your new location has true fiber. I do right now have fiber service here, which has been fantastic, and it is CenturyLink. It is not buried because we're in the middle of a neighborhood with power lines everywhere, but they just ran the wire down the street and it runs into the closet here, and I've got their little fiber modem that is in I forget what's the name of the mode where it's like it's not its own router, so it's just a modem that my router uses. It's great. It's been super solid. I would love a home automation stream. Okay, I might have to do that. So I don't know if we can. Oh yeah, no, you can live stream on new channels. I don't know if I've actually put a phone number into here to verify it though, but I will think about doing a home automation live stream on the House Files channel. But you should subscribe. How many of you subscribed since I last loaded this page? 388, 393. Excellent. 5 more. Okay, want to see a few more here. Because I do want to get this up to 1K so we can actually monetize it. Home automation streams will be fun though. You can ditch their modem, just need to tag traffic VLAN 201 and plug in directly to the... Actually, no, that is what I did, sorry. So they gave me 2 boxes. One was a modem, one was like a router, and I said, I don't want that. And it's just the fiber terminator thing that is connected into the Unify system. So that is how I've got it set up. It's great. So here's my internet connection, and it is somewhere in here is the, yeah, there's like the credentials. So, you know, it's doing the PPPoE VLAN 201, which I had to get the guy to like, the tech that came in to install it was it took me a while to convince him that I really wanted to do it this way. And he had to go like call 3 levels of support to even get the credentials for my account. So, yeah. I'm sure you can get a guest to join you for the house files on home automation and can go on for at least 2 hours. I'm sure. Gonna have to like scope the discussion to like particular types of things, like just a light bulb episode or just the door system. But it'll be fun. I wish AT&T would let us go straight from the ONT. Yeah, that's too bad they don't. Emerald says, I was doing a lot of research on doorbells because I didn't want cloud and landed on the AlphaGo ALP600S and its door release. I've never heard of that one. AlphaGo ALP600S. Never heard of this one. I have seen similar things to this. So one of the, you know what? This is a different stream. We're getting way off track. We're going to have to do this on the House Files channel later. Okay. Lily's going to ask for her series of episodes on the House Files channel. Yeah, she can do live streams too. We just haven't really talked about doing it yet. They're a German company, may not sell it in the US. Okay. Stop and Think says, just past 1 hour, when are you getting to the giveaways? Thank you for the question. Let's just do it now, because why not? That way I don't forget. Okay. Yeah, we've got a good crew here. So yeah, we just hybridized into the house files. I know. I was trying to promote that content, and we just turned this stream into that content. So I'm gonna try to separate that better. I have also been very strongly considering making a new channel as well, to be more about the DIY and building stuff side of things, because I do want to keep this channel focused on the live streaming and the video gear, but 3D printing, laser cutting, just general DIY stuff, be fun to be able to do more videos about that. And a lot of it will be building video gear for video stuff, but yeah, haven't come up with a catchy channel name yet. So I think once I figure that out, although I was thinking about build stuff with Aaron. That way the acronym is BS with Aaron, which I think would be funny. So maybe we'll do that. DIY channel will be good. Okay. I'll have to get everybody to resubscribe though. So you might want to cut this part of the stream off because you did give us your public IP. You can't do anything with my public IP. I don't really care. BS with Aaron PK. Yeah. Okay. So let's cue up some music and start the giveaways. So for this, let's start with the mini prize. The mini prize is open to anybody who has said anything in the chat today during the session. So that is open to, yeah, if you've said anything, you are now entered. Congratulations. And what we're gonna do is load up the people here in this wheel and give it a spin. The prize is 25% off any of the digital products on my channel. So that includes the channel organizer PDF, the planner for the Remarkable tablet, which I don't have here, but it's a very cool device. Stress test clips for testing your video encoders, which I'm actually doing an update to them, so there's gonna be a bunch of new versions as well. I'm not updating the original ones, but I'm adding more frame rates to them. So those should be coming out pretty soon, adding all the fractional frame rates. And yeah, we're going to give this wheel a spin. See if anybody else joined. Okay, and here we go. The winner is Jeremiah. Congratulations. So, send me an email. My email address is linked from this channel. You can go to the About tab and you'll find it there. Send me an email with your name in it, and I will send you back a coupon code you can use for all the stores. And then we're going to do the Extreme prize, which is 50% off any of the digital products, and or your choice, $20 off any of the physical products that you can find from shop.airpk.tv, or any of the $20 off any of the PK1 products as well. That includes the any of the ATEM or Yolobox stands, also the brand new Stream Deck XL stand that has room for the Raspberry Pi on the bottom, which is super cool. And this is still here because I'm going to end up putting this one over in Lily's studio, because right now the Raspberry Pi is just kind of dangling off to the side somewhere, and it'll look very good once it's all on her desk, just neat and tidy in this little package. So that is $20 off any of those physical products. So let's go ahead and load up the wheel for this. Again, if you've sent in a super chat in the last 30 days, you're entered into this. And we're going to give this a spin. Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? It's Tom! Congratulations. I don't know if you're in the chat today. Hopefully you are. But send me an email. Again, email is linked from the YouTube channel, and I will send you back a coupon code. Tell me which one you want. Tell me if you want the $20 off or the 50% off, and if you want it for the PK1 products or something from my shop.ampk.tv, because I will go make the coupon code in the right place when that happens. Congratulations. I wish I had a way to check who was in the chat today. I should link that up because I have all the data in the right places. But yes, congratulations to Tom. Hopefully Tom hears this. Wonderful. Thanks for playing. We'll do it again next month. Probably actually the first stream of the month next time. That would be May 7th. Yep, that should work. Excellent. Okay. Christopher says, I've been stuck on the road for the last few weeks going home from church during the stream today. I'm stuck at home recovering from surgery. Oh no. Hopefully you're doing okay. Managed to tune in and then give away. Hope you're doing okay. Axel says, you remind me of that movie Weird Science. I don't think I've seen that movie. I think for 3D printing, computing stuff sticks to this channel. For general DIY, put on the house files. I guess I could use the house. No, but see, I'm thinking like completely unrelated to house things too. So it kind of feels like it needs to be its own channel. Like imagine, I've never done, so I've like talked about 3D printing here, of course, because of all the 3D printed stuff I've got here and like the stands and stuff. But the, I've never like done a review of a 3D printer, for example, which I don't think would really do well on this channel, nor does that make sense for the House Files channel. So that's why I think it needs to be a new channel. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you. I am doing better. Great. Good to hear. Okay. What else can we get up to in this stream now that the giveaway is done? Michael says, I want to buy a Yolobox product just so I can use one of your stands. Excellent. Excellent cross promotion there. That is, that's the goal. Okay, questions. Back, please. Calm down. I tried to update my system yesterday to the new OS and it didn't finish. So now everything is like in this weird pending state. Thank you for the reminder, David. If your like button is transparent, click it again to make it solid. Help the algorithm. Love it. 7 new channels, Monday, Tuesday, etc. Yeah, one for each day of the week. Just stream every day. Oh yeah. So one other part of the House Files channel to talk about the video side of this, the production side of this. For the last several episodes now, we've been using this new set up in the office house up there. Don't need to. And then let me get to the wide shot so you can see the set. One of the new things that that I did there was I've reconfigured this a few times, but this system has been working very well now. So this is a ATEM Mini Pro, one of my original ATEM Mini Pros, or it's actually the ISO version, which is important. ISO version, and then it's got the Zoom F2 with a little tiny 32-bit recorder with 2 XLR inputs. That sends audio into the ATEM. And then these 2 microphones are the Shure SM58 classic microphone, can't go wrong. Also not very expensive, and those go into the Zoom recorder. So I record 32-bit float audio in the Zoom recorder, but feed a copy into the ATEM on separate left and right channels. And then in mix effect, this is where the magic happens. In mix effect, this is connected to the Mini Pro ISO, and then so again, the microphone is, or the audio is split into left and right channels in the Zoom recorder, feeding left and right into the ATEM. And that means that there's a setting in here. I don't know if you can get to it from mix effect, or if you have to do it from the ATEM. Oh yeah, split audio, there it is. So mic 1 is split into left and right, which means it shows up as separate audio sources. So in the audio mixer, it's got separate audio sources here. And that means I can use the video follows audio feature in mix effect to trigger based on the left and right channels based on who's speaking. So since these microphones are pretty directional, they pretty much only pick up one of the people speaking, certainly much stronger than the other. And this has been working extremely well. So there's a threshold here. So when the audio gets to be above -20 dB for 45 samples, it will cut. Uh-oh, why did that disappear? I think it got messed up. It got reset. Shoot. Okay. So cut to camera 1. I have to double check that's the right one, but cut to the Lily's camera, doing cut. I don't want to do a fade or anything, and then it will hold it for a couple of seconds before it'll let it trigger to anything else. And then we do the same thing on the other channel. Cut to camera 2, and then hold it for a couple of seconds. And this works really well for just cutting back and forth. And you'll see, like, when I say something, it'll cut to my close-up, and then if Lily says something, it'll take over and cut to hers. So how do you get to the wide shot? Because I want it to fall back to this wide shot often enough. I don't want it to just be like close-ups all the time. So I figured out what works well for that is using a video follows audio on the main audio mix but instead of listening for the audio to go higher than something, it'll listen for a gap in the audio. So it listens for the audio to drop for long enough, and then it will choose the wide angle. And again, cut. And then that will actually force it to hold there for longer. So what it means is basically what happens is as we're talking, and if we're going back and forth, it'll be cutting between the different close-ups. And then as soon as we pause for a split second, and there's a gap, it'll go wide, and then it'll lock at that wide shot for like 10 seconds before cutting back to a close-up. And it ends up looking really good. So what we do is I do record the ISO, but I pretty much, when I'm editing, I do it as a multicam, but I load in the 4 or 3 angles plus the auto cut version. And the auto cut version, I pretty much, I just select that angle and use that for almost the whole time. And then when I'm editing, I notice that there's like something that isn't quite right with it, I will, take a sliver and cut to one of the particular angles that I want out of the ISO file. But for the most part, I'm using the auto mix that Mixeffect is doing. And it does do a very good job. So this was, that was adding B-roll on top later, but so there's, cutting to me, it'll hold for a couple of seconds. And then if I stop talking or if Lily says something, it should cut away. Let's see if that's, B-roll. Sometimes we do less B-roll. This one was a very visual episode because we were talking about everything going on. Anyway, it's been working very well. I'm very impressed. Thanks to Adam for adding the video follows audio feature because it's super, super cool. Yeah, it's been very useful for that. It's saved a ton of time in producing that podcast because the ISO recording is great, but I don't want to have to switch the show live while I'm in the show. I don't think that would look very good, but also I don't want to have to go edit the ISO and do the cuts later. I did that for the first couple of episodes before I figured out that this is a perfect application of video follows audio. And it was very annoying. I got pretty good at doing it quickly anyway, because essentially you stay on the wide shot and then you can scrub through the timeline. You don't have to watch it in real time, but you can scrub through and see when someone starts talking and put a cut there. But still, it's so much nicer having it just all automated. The one trick is that you do have to get your audio into the ATEM as separate channels so that you can do the trigger based on a particular channel. And in this case, the cameras don't work as audio sources because they're all about the same distance away from both of us. So they all pick both of us up equally. So to be able to use the actual audio from the microphones themselves was important there. I'm a little bit sad because I do like the look of the Tula microphones better, which we used for a couple episodes, especially because there's no wires because they are recording themselves internally. But I can't use this audio for video follows audio, obviously, because it is not running anywhere external. And connecting a wire into this looks really ugly. So for a couple episodes, I did actually slip a DJI microphone into hidden inside because I wasn't using the audio from it, but it was enough to trigger the video follows audio. But I realized that was not a good long-term plan because it just meant way more setup. And also these Tula microphones are great, but again, I'm trying to reduce the amount of setup time for every part of the process in order to actually get these things out. And part of that was the setup time when I've got these microphones is I have to make sure they're charged. I have to physically attach them here because in order to get the files off, you have to physically detach and plug it into a computer. And it doesn't sound like much, but it was just a little bit too much time. And now with the hardwired microphones, it's just always all there, and it's always just set up, it's always ready to go, and very much easier to just jump in and shoot something now. So Phillips is like, I guess you can make a dummy audio track with intermittent sounds playing live that triggers the occasional wide shot. Oh, that's interesting. At that point, I would probably just like, no, I don't know. Honestly, listening for that gap has been working well. What I do wish I could do, which Adam, who makes Mix Effect, says is not possible with the current architecture, is what I would like to do is when both people are speaking within enough proximity, use that as a trigger. So rather than cutting to the other person close up when they start, if we both are going back and forth, a couple words at a time, or if we're talking over each other, then I would like that to be a trigger. But he said that it can't work that way the way it's built right now, because the triggers can only be run off of like a single audio source. That would, but yeah, it would be very cool. But the workaround was if I have it listen for the gaps, it ends up actually working pretty well. Video follows audio is worth the price of entry. Absolutely. Also for super sources, yes, agreed. Stream Deck pedal to switch to wide. A pedal would be the way to do the manual switching for this show, but I don't want to have to pay attention to it when I'm recording, and that's the problem. Because if I wasn't filming myself, then I would switch it live, and probably get a slightly better result. But I don't want to have to be looking at the TV screen to know, like, oh, did it go to a close-up shot, or did it? Do I need to cut back to a wide? Like, I don't want to have to think about that, right? So it's yeah, just having it all auto is actually really great. Neil says, curious if Blackmagic would introduce an auto mix feature based on machine learning for multicam projects in Resolve. It seems completely doable. Because yeah, once you've got the project in Resolve, if you tell it like, here's this camera, here's the audio track for that person, here's this camera, here's the audio track, do a mix. The fact that like Mix Effect is not doing machine learning by any sense of the word, right? It's like a very simple set of rules of listening for levels of audio. Even if you just put that code into Resolve, you could get a really good result. The much fancier version is using some sort of machine learning to figure out slightly better version of that. But even just porting that into Resolve and having it be able to do it in post would be super incredible. Seems like a good opportunity, like an easy win for them. Would it not be great if a switcher would work with a hand gesture to switch? I don't know. I think it'd be really weird if like you saw me doing like this all the time. It'd be like camera 2, camera 1, camera 3, while being on screen. I did see actually a system that does, it's a computer-based system because it's using your CPU to do all the recognition, or I think GPU, but you have to get all your cameras into OBS or into your computer, and then it can do face recognition on them. So if I look at a different camera, something could be watching that camera feed, looking for that eye contact, and then send a cut command. I did see a demo of that, which worked quite well, but it was entirely done in a computer, and I don't want to have to do that. So like I could imagine having that run as like a separate thing with my setup here, because all these cameras have RTSP feeds. So I could have some other system be pulling the RTSP feed out of the cameras, doing machine learning, machine recognition of faces on it to know which camera I was looking at, and then send the cut command to the ATEM, which would definitely work. How you would trigger overhead cameras, not totally sure. Like, how do I know? How do I tell it that I want to cut to the overhead now. Like, I'm looking down, so is that the gesture? Like, when I look down, it should cut. Trigger word, just say over to cut every time. Yeah. Interesting new things that are possible, though. Axel Live says, do you think you'll do any videos with Ecamm? I did a couple demos a while ago. God, it was probably like over a year ago at this point. It's a great system, especially with the remote guest feature, because it just makes it so easy. But I haven't had a chance to use it, I guess, myself much lately. So I don't know. I like to try to talk about things that I at least do use for realsies. Getting a switcher to have the brain power to do facial recognition, is it even possible? I think so. I mean, think about like, you know, even the like Sony ZV-1 has eye recognition in it, right? And it's had that for years in these little tiny cameras. It doesn't seem that outrageous to imagine actually putting that circuitry into an ATEM. It doesn't seem that far-fetched. In the meantime, though, if your cameras have RTSP out, you could at least do it in a separate device. But yeah, I mean, face recognition is like one of the oldest kind of machine learning things at this point, and very well established in that world. It's not that far-fetched anymore. Am I using OBS for this stream? No, absolutely not. Well, okay, that's not true. I'm using OBS for one part of the stream, which is how I get comments on the screen. And if you look at my OBS screen, you'll see your comment is on the screen, but that's all that's in OBS. And this is also where I have the map and like the countdown and stuff. But if OBS dies, my stream won't die. So I can just quit OBS and my stream didn't die. So although it did do something to the decklink output that made it not flat black. So the colors, the keyer was messed up. But yeah. The stream itself is in the ATEM though, and the video path is all ATEM in that rack through the web presenter for the encoding, which is generally more reliable. Neil says, ATEM has shown auto switching system based on face recognition via OBS a few weeks ago. Yep. No, it's totally doable. With machine learning, training generally tends to be much more resource intensive than predicting or using it. Yeah, totally. So if you look at all the new GPT-4 and Midjourney and stuff, actually using that data to make the stuff doesn't take nearly as many resources as what it took to train those models up. So it'll be like months and months of super high power GPUs all crunching numbers, and then it just creates like this giant blob, and then you can use that, and it's actually not even that much data. Like I think some of the, what was it, like a couple of gigabytes or something was one of the data sets. I don't remember which one it was, but it was like a couple of gigabytes, which is, you know, a lot of data, but not that much. You can put it on a thumb drive, and then that's for like these whole, you know, huge language models that are doing a lot more than just face recognition. But then using it is pretty straightforward. So for face recognition, like, yeah, you can spend a while training up and building this data set of being able to do face recognition, but then you can put it on these tiny devices to use it. Yeah, Nils is saying even the little ESP32 camera modules can do face recognition, and they stream at 10 frames a second. Yeah, and you'll see like the secure, back to the security camera conversation. Security cameras will have face recognition, and they're also getting now like car recognition or animal recognition, all sorts of stuff like that, because the training is what takes a long time. Darren says, have you been using your GH5 Mark II for any recent projects? Yeah, so I have been, I use it for B-roll around when I'm shooting stuff, videos for the channel. And then I guess most recent thing I did with it was the photo shoot in Japan. Did a little photo walk, and that was where I had this. Where's the fastest way to get that picture up? This was the cool, oh gosh. Do I have it in album? I have it in Lightroom. But I took it to Japan because I wanted to bring a good camera with a good lens and be able to actually, you know, take some nice photos. This is my unedited roll. So like, and I was playing with color grading them to look like cyberpunk theme. That's the photo straight out of the camera, and then this is the edit. You can see my favorite one of all time is this one. I think I'm gonna have to like actually print this out. So that was the real, like, you know, raw out of the camera version, and then I did the edit to it to make it look more fun. What lens? That was the I brought the 12 to 60 millimeter because I wanted to be able to very quickly switch focal lengths, like zoom in, because I didn't want to have to deal with actually changing lenses, but it worked well. The 12 to 60 is a good lens. Thank you, Jonathan. Garrett says, apparently there's a smart mode in Resolve to automatically switch to the person who is talking. It says ChatGPT. 1260 kit lens. Oh, no, not the kit one. Sorry. Yeah, the much more expensive one. It is the, let me see if I can find it. It is the Lumix 12 to 60. It's the one with the yellow numbers, which are the fancier ones. Yeah, here we go. Oh, wow, I got it in 2018. Apparently I bought it refurbished. Didn't know that. It's been great. It's a good lens. Let me drop the link in here so you can see it. Uh, 12 to 60 lens. Yeah. Do you post your photos somewhere for us to admire? Good question. Actually, that is a great plug for my Instagram channel, which you should absolutely follow me on Instagram because, so I did post that photo. I might post a few more as well, but you should absolutely follow me here because next week, at the current time, next week, I will be in Las Vegas at NAB and filming a bunch of videos at all the different booths of all the vendors. And the plan is I'm doing this project with Photo Joseph. We're going to shoot and edit and launch short videos. They will be vertical. So apologies if you don't like vertical videos, but we're going to do, we'll be able to re-edit them later because we're using his S1H, which does the super huge image that you can like crop into still to a vertical HD and horizontal HD later. Same day turnaround of a bunch of these videos posted to Instagram. I might post them on YouTube as well, but I don't know if I want to fill my YouTube channel with all those shorts. We'll see. But definitely check out, they're definitely going on Instagram. They'll be in the Reels section. So keep an eye out because that's how you can follow me during NAB. hopefully you'll see a ton of content from that. Open gate, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you. I do follow you on Instagram, but you have a lot more. I haven't finished editing all of those yet or posting them, but I will post them on Instagram. At one point I had I do have a Flickr account. I was paying for a Flickr account for a while, but I'm just not super into it now. It does seem like maybe that would be a good place to post photos though. So maybe I should just do that even though my account's still a free account. Yes, Photo Joseph has several videos up on OpenGate. Yes. Darren says, I love Micro Four Thirds lenses, still a fan of the platform. I do too. I know that there's some advantages to full frame, larger sensors and stuff, but I still like the size of the Micro Four Thirds lenses, and the camera's better, so I don't think I'm gonna move away from that anytime soon. Instagram ID, it is AaronPK_TV. I'll drop it in the chat again. Lintaga says, you can look at all the room systems in the market that have presenter mode. The camera follows a speaking presenter, for example. Very nice for Teams and Zoom rooms. Totally, yeah. Honestly, face recognition is like completely commoditized now, which is I think great. So it can be in all these little tiny devices here and there. We'd love to be able to see all the nice pictures and drone shots, but of course the whole copyright and licensing for the photos and drone license. Yeah, totally. I agree. I realized that like I've shown these drone clips during live streams, right? For like when I was doing all the traveling last year of like the Iceland sequence or Hawaii or whatever. Did not bring my drone to Japan because that was too complicated. I also can't bring that one. I had to get a new one with remote ID, but then I realized that I haven't actually posted those videos like by themselves. A couple of them are on Instagram, but not all of them. So, yeah. And maybe I should just go back to Flickr. Maybe I should just use Flickr. I don't know. Bert says, oh, 2 questions from Bert. Just starting out, what's a good starter camera? That's a big question. I think, well, okay, first of all, live streaming or photos, because different worlds there. I would say, like all the cameras are good now. Like everything is good. So don't overthink it. I'm a big fan of Lumix cameras. I like the Micro Four Thirds stuff. But like Sony cameras are great. Sony has better autofocus, hands down. But I would say for live streaming, if you're talking about live streaming stuff, then you definitely want to go like, you can't go to the very bottom of the price tier, but look for something that is a step up from like, oh, this is more specific. Church service to YouTube. Okay, so the church service to YouTube. So okay, this is why I was like, this is a big question. Starter camera for in a venue like a church, I would probably go with a camcorder because they come with a DC power cord. They have very good zoom lenses on them, which if you want a close-up shot and not just a wide shot of the whole room, that's a great way to get a zoom. And they're plenty good enough. And some of them are better at low light than others, so maybe look at the low light performance reviews. I think that's a good way to start because they're also like, you don't have to spend $2,000 to get one that's going to work well enough. Again, don't go to the very bottom of the price. Like there are a bunch of camcorders that are like $200. You probably will be disappointed with those. But if you try to go somewhere around the $600 to $1,000 price point, you'll probably find something good enough. And The nice thing about the camcorder style is that there's just less stuff to think about. Like it will have HDMI, clean HDMI out. It's not going to have a bunch of settings that you don't need or you'll have to disable because it's made for video. Like I said, I haven't bought a camcorder since like 2015, so I don't have a particular one to recommend, but maybe I should just buy one at some point to see what the market's like. Emerald says, where you get into trouble is if you show the drone footage from the States, as you still need Part 107, even if you have a drone that's under 250 gram, because showing on the channel that is monetized. Yeah, absolutely. But that's why I got my license. So I don't have to worry about that anymore. And every country is different. But yeah, if you're in the US and you are using your footage for really anything other than just like family gatherings or whatever, and even then it's debatable, but you very quickly need to have a license in order to use that footage for anything. So it sounds like a lot, but it's really not that big of a deal. You should just do it. Like if you're thinking about flying a drone, if you're thinking about taking pictures with a drone in the US, you should probably just get your license. It's harder to justify the exemptions for when you don't need a license if you are taking photos. Recreational use is the term, and you can definitely justify just flying as recreation. Like that is a sport. You can be, if you're flying a no camera drone, then it's very easy to be like, yes, this was a recreational flight. I was not trying to do anything beyond recreate. What's the verb? What is the verb form of recreational? Recreate? That doesn't sound right. Create? No. Does it not exist? That's weird. Anyway, the point is, you need a license to fly a drone unless you're flying for recreational purposes. And if you're flying for recreational purposes, then you don't need a license. But if you're taking a photo, and then you technically can take photos recreationally, but it's going to get much harder to argue that the more you start to do with those photos. So, yeah. Back to the camera question. Yeah, what's the budget? Under $2,000. Okay, so that's a decent amount to work with. And I also agree with this. The Blackmagic camera, which is like $1,200, $1,300 or something. You'll need a lens also, which will get you somewhere close to the $2,000. It'll also work well, but you're gonna have to learn more to use the Blackmagic camera than you will to have to use a camcorder. So I think that's depends on what level of starter you're looking for. Do you want it to just work? Are you going to be training anybody else to use it? Because the more complicated the system, the more steps you're going to have to do to teach somebody else how to use it. So I would vote for keeping it simple at first. It is recreate. Okay. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that word before. Yeah. Yeah. And then, subject is about 60 to 80 feet away. If you want to be able to get into like a shot like this from 80 feet away, that's a pretty large amount of zoom. And to do that with a Blackmagic camera or any kind of mirrorless camera, that's going to be like one of those 100 to 400 millimeter lenses. And even then, I don't know if that's actually enough. Can't remember off the top of my head the math on that. But a lot of the camcorders do have ridiculous zooms, even optical zooms. And then if you want to go, I would say, so Geert is recommending PTZ cameras. Definitely a good option. I would say that the $2,000 is like the least you'll spend to get a good PTZ camera. So if you're ready to spend more than that, get a PTZ camera and you can spend several $1,000s on one that's going to give you really good results and also a really good zoom. But I think, oh yeah, and here's Christopher has done this already. started with a camcorder and then added the PTZ camera. So I think you'll get perfectly fine results with a camcorder with a good optical zoom, and then once you're ready to add a second camera, maybe go PTZ at that point because you've been able to demonstrate that that the whole thing is working. And then follow-up question here from Bert: do I need a Blackmagic HyperDeck if I'm just streaming to YouTube? Probably not. No. So the HyperDeck would let you record a local copy if you're not using the ATEM Mini. So if you're using the ATEM Mini Pro or Extreme, it can record to a drive itself, so you don't need the HyperDeck for that. If you're using like a rack mount ATEM, and you want to record, you would need an external recorder like the HyperDeck. The other thing the HyperDeck can do is video playback. So if you want to have any videos that play during like breaks or intro outro video clips that are not just like still graphics that you can load into your still slots, then the HyperDeck will let you play those into the ATEM. So Robert says Canon XA45 has 20x optical zoom and XLR in. Oh, XLR in is a cool idea too. Canon XA45. I feel like I've seen this popping up a lot when browsing around. $2,100. Oh yeah, and it's got a little handle on the top. But yeah, pretty good. I'm sure this is a solid option. It looks like a much better version of the little G20s I was using. You know who else uses camcorders a lot is Doug Johnson. Oh yes, another good channel to check out, AJ the CEO. He's how I ended up within this group as well. He exclusively deals with church integrations. Good tip. Emerald says, with a DJI Ronin RS3, a Blackmagic, and ATEM Mini, and the middle things, APCR, even have a cinematic PTZ camera with interchangeable lenses. Very cool setup. That's a lot of stuff to keep track of, and I would not recommend that as a first step into the world of PTZ or even streaming in general. But yes, very cool. Very cool. The G60, yeah, I think that's the one that's the upgrade to the G20s that I was buying. Cool. Well, we are gonna, in fact, make it to the 2-hour mark, I think. Let's make sure that we're gonna redirect over to Lily's channel because she's gonna start at noon. And this is let's see if she's texted me. Nope. Okay. Everything's good. She will be, first time using the gear since we got back from Japan though. So hopefully everything works. I didn't actually turn that stuff off at home. So hopefully it's just fine. She's going live soon to talk about all the stuff she brought back from Japan, journaling and stickers and pens, and I haven't even actually unpacked my haul either, so I need to do that at some point. So that'll be fun. And yeah. Panasonic HC1500 have 24x optical zoom. Cool, good tip. I really should probably check out some camcorders. It's been a while. What is a good starter lens for streaming on the Sony ZV-10? Wait, is the ZV-10 the new one? Or is that the E10? No, E10. Sony ZV E10 is the... I haven't actually used mine in a while. That's interesting. Yeah, I was thinking about bringing this one to Japan because it is smaller. It's quite a lot smaller than the GH5, but I still think I like the Lumix cameras better for still photos. Maybe it's just because I'm more used to it, but there's more buttons on the Lumix. You get like buttons for changing the ISO and the shutter speed dials and the aperture dials and all that. So that's why I didn't bring this to Japan. I was thinking about it though. But E-mount lenses, the kit lens that it comes with is not great. I'm not a big fan of it. Let's see. I got what lens what did I get for mine? Okay, if you want the wide look, the Sigma 16mm is a classic. This is E-mount. So this is a classic one. It's kind of big, but it's a really good lens. And you can get it for a bunch of different mounts, but you get the Sony E-mount for the ZV-E10. It is one focal length. It's 16mm, so it's a pretty wide shot, but it's good. Definitely gives you that like wide YouTuber look. Let me see if I have a link for that one. I do. Sigma 16mm. And hopefully that's the E-mount. Wow. Yep. And the other one would be if you want something that's going to give you more flexible zoom, or like oh my god, all the words are falling out of my head. Variable. Is that the word? Apparently 2 hours is too much for me now. I also like this one, Sony 28-70. So this one is what I've got for that camera also. And it's actually a little bit shorter than the 16mm, which is interesting. But it's also a good one. Again, not a big fan of the kit lens that comes with it. Sony 28-70mm. Let me go make that link so that you can find it. And here it is. Okay. Oh, wow. A whole bunch of chat about the gimbal system. How much is a license? Are there differences in different states? Oh, no. The drone license is it's done through the FAA, so it's federal. How much was it? The license itself, I don't think the license itself had a fee, but the test had a fee. And it was like, it wasn't very much. It was like, I want to say it was under $100 for the test. Maybe it was 150. I actually can't even remember. It was not much. It was certainly less than the cost of the drone. Let's just put it that way. A lot less than the cost of the drone. And it lasts for a bunch of years, and then you have to renew it, but you don't need to do the in-person test to renew it. So I don't even think it. Wow, now I can't remember anything about the cost of it. Wow, totally blanking. It's extremely affordable in any case, and it's federal. It's done through the FAA, not through the states. So it's one of the interesting things about the airspace is that it is controlled by the federal government, and the states don't really get any control, any say in their own airspace, which also means states cannot limit airspace. So they can't tell you can't fly over things, which is fun. And hopefully I don't ever have to have that conversation with anybody, but I am prepared to. Actually just yesterday, I was doing a favor for a friend. This is an example of something that would absolutely not be considered recreational flying. A friend of mine runs some public Wi-Fi hotspots around Portland, and the way it works is like he'll talk to a building, like a coffee shop or somebody that has like rooftop access, and then put a hotspot on the roof, and then pipe into their internet connection. And then they become like a provider for this network. It's called Personal Telco. And I'm actually providing one of the hotspots from my internet connection here as well. And so he ends up with like a bunch of gear on a bunch of roofs around Portland. And he was like, yeah, we're having some trouble on this one building. We need to get up there to see like what's wrong, like see if it's damaged or anything. So I was like, I can go take drone photos of that. Right, I can go fly my drone over the building, get some snapshots to at least give you a visual of what's what's going on, see if there's anything obvious from just looking at it. And absolutely not recreational flying. That definitely requires a license because that is not just for fun. But I have the license, so I can do it. And took some photos, and then can send those to him. Uh-oh, Lily says SOS. Oh, fun problem. Okay, we're gonna do some troubleshooting for Lily. So. Oh, Sean is coming in with the costs. Thank you. $150 initial test in person. 2-year recurring test is free and online. Just took mine today. Congratulations. Hopefully you passed. 150. Okay. And then free renewals. That's great. So let's go take a look at Lily's channel and see what's up. I'm going to go into YouTube Studio as her. So she scheduled 2 streams. Oh, geez, I'm not logged into that account. I really need to get my other account set up for her channel. So I have like 2 Google accounts. She scheduled 2 streams, which is causing some confusion in the YouTube Studio. So let's go take a look at, oh, aha. It started a new stream like automatically. So we need to fix this up. What is going on? Default stream key. So we have to end this. Wait, so the ATEM is still streaming. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna end that. Okay, we're going to go to the stream for today, which is this one. And that, aha, that's what happened. So I'm guessing she duplicated the, let's get rid of the captions and switch to ultra low. Aha, there's the feed. So what happened, sorry, this was all, I had to do this very quickly. This should be running. Let me double check. And okay, we can, oh, I wanted to go to ultra low for her. That's what she normally does. Oh, too late. She started it herself. Okay. So what just happened? What just happened was, and I had to do this all very quickly because she's starting now. What happened was when we were in Japan, we streamed to the channel from the Yolobox. And what the Yolobox does is it makes a new stream key for every like show. So I'm guessing this one's gonna have the same problem. So that was the live from Japan stream key that the Yolobox created. And you can see there's other ones from the Yolobox that have been created for whatever reason, right? So that that was fine. That works for the Japan stream. And then, like this is what I do too. I go into the YouTube Studio and I go make a new stream and I say reuse. And if we reuse that stream, it'll be using the wrong stream key. And then because it's got the stream key set to Lily Japan, the go live now uses the default. So when she hit go from the ATEM, it started streaming to this default stream. And thankfully it was set to unlisted, otherwise it would have been a public video. But that just goes and makes a new video and just starts the stream live. And notice how there's no live now on off situation going on here, or there's auto stop, auto start don't exist. So so it just goes. So the fix was I had to go end that stream, go into here and use the correct stream key, change it back to the default stream key. And then we have to do the same for this one. It should work fine to change this back to the default. I'm not going to touch it now just because she's actually live, but it should work fine to have multiple scheduled ones with the same stream key, because you go, as long as you don't have auto start on, you can click go live manually. So tricks with YouTube Studio. This is a good one to note because I'm planning on a video about talking about everything in this YouTube Studio console. And this is a good tip to learn, to remember. Okay, so she is live. We are going to send you over there in a minute. Let me just go back through the chat really quick and see what we've got. Emerald says, I use drones for surveying radio equipment, and yes, need a license for that. Absolutely. We should have a segment for the Lily's channel here. Fixing stuff for Lily's channel that Aaron may or may not have broken. Yes. Sometimes it's my fault. Guessing you can't change the way Yolobox creates streams. This is a feature request I've talked with them about. I'm going to remind them again because actually YoloLive is coming to NAB, and there's going to be like a bunch of people from YoloLive at NAB, so I'll get to talk to them in person and meet Frank for the first time, which will be really nice. But I do have a request for them, which is about how they manage stream keys, because I do not like that it makes a new one every time. YouTube Studio seems to be a mess. Too many ways to fail. Kind of. And it's also just that it can do quite a lot of things. Oh my gosh. Okay. We are over time. There's still some other questions in here. I may have to... Okay, rapid fire. Bert, can I use a 4K camera with the ATEM Mini Pro? If the 4K camera has the ability to send out a downscaled 1080 output, then yes. So you can record 4K internal if you want to and output 1080, but the ATEM cannot scale down a 4K signal. Most 4K cameras will be able to output 1080 or sometimes only output 1080. Depends on the camera. Emerald says, have you seen the new person tracking cropping feature in the ZV-E1? And you can still record the full footage via HDMI. That's the one feature of the ZV-E1 that I really wish others would adapt. No, I didn't watch all the Sony Camera Camp videos where everybody was making videos about it, but I did keep seeing people talk about the AI features in the camera without ever describing it. So at some point, I'm going to have to go back and watch those. Ilya says, have you tried connecting the ATEM Mini to 2 different computers or to one computer with 2 cables to get 2 different inputs? The ATEM Mini Extreme has 2 USB ports, and you can connect each to a different computer, but it's the same program out. So there's no way to separate that out of the USB. Parmar says, I purchased the Blackmagic Extreme ISO, but try PNG logo, but not set white. Oh my gosh, I don't understand the question, sorry. It can be a bit tricky to get PNGs to show up with transparency properly. The Photoshop plugin does the best job of exporting it in the right format, or like pushing it to the ATEM in the right format. There is a way to do it in other software though. But without understanding the actual problem you're having, I don't know if I can give you a quick answer. Okay, thank you for the super chat. Darren, gotta run, thanks for the stream and your tips. I also have to run, and now I've clobbered over Lily's time, so we'll send you over there and get her some more viewers as well. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. And thank you, Koala, for the super chat. For getting me on April Fool's, a good one. I had a lot of fun with that. I think it was a good gag. Hopefully I didn't make anybody mad. I got more thumbs down on that video though, so clearly I made some people mad. Oh, Bert, thank you for the super chat also. I appreciate it. Okay, great way to end the stream. Let's wrap this up and say thank you to everybody who has sent in a super chat. And yes, give it a thumbs up. Thank you. And don't forget that sending a super chat does enter you into the giveaway for next month. So we'll do that at the beginning of May. And in the meantime, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, go subscribe to the House Files channel, and we will see you next week, although probably not live. So make sure you're subscribed to my Instagram account, so you can follow along with all of the NAB adventures. All right, thank you everybody, and bye.